9:02 this morning on July the 27th. I'd like to call the meeting of the Vigo County Capital Improvement Board of Managers to order. Point for the record, three of us, Chris Schweitzer, Terry Conley, and myself are here in person, and on the phone electronically is Dave Patterson. Good morning electronically, Dave Patterson.
Good morning.
Right, I called the roll basically, but
Mr. Marble,
here,
Ms. Bennett, Ms. Crapo, Mr. Schweitzer,
Here.
Mr. Patterson, he's here. Ms. Conley.
Hello, you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right, they're calling roll, you're here, right?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm here.
all right, are there any additions or revisions to today's agenda? Hearing none, do I have approval of minutes of the June 22nd, 2022 meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved.
Mr. Patterson, can you vote aye, please?
Aye.
Thank you. Under old business, 5.1 is an update on the Convention Center management, Spectra venue and Oak Valley.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
To
Good
me.
morning, everyone. So, we're reporting on the month of June. In June, we hosted 14 events. These events accounted for 19 total event days. Some of our events might take place a day and a half or 2 days, so they might have multiple days, so that's why the event days don't match the number of events. Total attendance was estimated at a little over 1,300. Gross revenue, from what I get out of our booking system, is roughly around 54,000. However, I don't see, there's bar sales and things like that I don't see it. So as soon as our June financials are complete, you'll get what that total number is. But parking revenue generated for the month of June was around 1,800 also. So our gross revenue will be a little higher than this. This is a list of the events that we hosted in June. We had a nonprofit organization, Casey, that was here, just did a day meeting for 50 people. Unfolding Word was another 25-person small meeting. We hosted the Special Olympics banquet, which was a 75-person, their VIP dinner to their opening celebrations over across the street at the Holman Center.
Mr. Chairman, if I can for 1 second, I'm adding the mayor. Okay, so if you could show the mayor present electronically also.
Can you hear me, Brian?
Yes, I can, sir. You're on speaker for the group.
Okay.
We had a retirement party for Coach Randy Jensen. They had about 250 guests that attended for that. Rose Coleman Athletic Department had a small meeting with catering, marathon, local gas station. They're actually doing a series of meetings with us. Garmong held their quarterly meeting again with us. Thank you very much, Brian, for that. Lead to Leadership Development, which is an out-of-state group. They actually came from Chicago. This was a lead came from one of our other facilities that knew that there was a building here, and this group was they were actually looking to go to Indianapolis. And so someone I knew at another facility said, hey, why don't you give Tennille a call? So we booked them. This was a great little group. They were here for 3 days with meetings. It had 60 hotel room nights. They were kind of somewhere from Illinois, I think, somewhere from some other surrounding states, but they were out doing like sales calls out in the office. It was like insurance sales. It's a really good group. We're hoping to get them back again. Indiana Connections Academy, they've been here several times. Rose Home Student Affairs, Wabash River RDA board meeting. This was in connection with RJL. And then we had the Wabash Valley Football Coaches Association. So this was a really nice dinner for lots of the area coaches. We had about 425 folks for that dinner. And they had the Air Race Classics, which had about 150 people for breakfast and 200 people for dinner. It was the award ceremony for the women racers this was the last stop of their race. So it was really exciting to see all of these female, racers, and had lots of college students, up to, you know, folks that own their own planes and do this, you know, they race for a living and are hobbyists, and it was just really, a really neat event. And then we had ISU Federal Credit Union that had a 50-person meeting here. And then these are just June statistics, just breaking events down by the actual event types. We had 3 banquets, 9 of those were meetings, and 2 of those were special events. And then we break them down by attendance, and then the revenue by event type. So right now, banquets produce the most revenue for the month, and the events that we did is the food and beverage functions. For sales and marketing, the sales team contracted 28 events this past month, totaling $167,000. This was by far their biggest sales month that they've had. So that was really exciting to run a report and see exactly how much business they had booked at the end of the month. So that equates to about 280 total room nights. Now these are events that will take place this year, next year, just it's kind of from now moving forward. 7 of these events that were contracted were in the month, for the month, that short-term business. 4 of the events are for 2023, and then the rest of them were for later in the year of 2022. And then I listed the 2023 events that are in those contracts. The Rotary District Conference, they're usually in Indianapolis. Indiana Chamber Executive Association, this lead came from the Chamber of Commerce locally here, so they were an advocate for their city. And then we've got the Indiana State Police Conference, and then another one that is not listed on here is a wedding. And then the team is currently working 31 tentative leads and a repeat business for 22 and future years, totaling $322,000 in potential revenue and 244 estimated hotel room nights. And we've got 12 contracts that are out, which I think right now some of these contracts have already come back as well. So they're doing a really good job at closing business. So this just gives a summary of kind of what's on the books right now. So for 2022, indefinite contracts, we have 25 contracts from now through the end of the year, which brings about 225 hotel room nights, $152,000 in gross revenue. Firm events, which means we've sent contracts out, we have 7 of those with 456 room nights, almost $100,000. And then tentative proposals, we have 14 with 115 room nights and 111,000 in gross revenue. And then 2023, you can see we've got 7 definite contracts out. We've got 4 firms and 14 tentatives, and then we have a couple events for 2024. So looking at our total funnel of everything from, this was actually from 2 weeks moving forward, we've got $764,000 in potential business in our funnel, and that does include what is definite already. So when I look at this, I don't count what we've already done. I'm only looking at today forward. So some of the site tours that we had the past month, we had several weddings that came in. And then we had the Indiana Association of Institutional Researchers, which is a post-secondary education group. We had the Junior Department Club Coalition, Cotillion, WTHI, WTHO, both looking at doing additional events with us, Indiana Association of County Commissioners, which all of the commissioners joined us on that site tour, which was really nice to have. We basically were trying to get an event that they normally have in Indianapolis, and they would like to go somewhere else. So in order to get this business, it takes our facility, the Holman building, to be able to do their trade show. So we've been working with Fred to try to make that happen. And then we took them around to various downtown places here. We took them over to Scouts and the Verve. They need hospitality rooms for their event. Chris could probably speak on, he attended, but they need various locations. So we really talked to them about what Terre Haute can do. You know, it's not just coming here and having an event, it's having an event here in the day, but what are they doing outside of their event that really helps our community? And this is the business that we're really looking for that future book. We haven't heard back on that, I'm not sure what the timeline is, but we're hopeful that we might be able to get that sometime in the future,
I
if not
have to
this next
present
one.
it to the full board next month.
Oh, great, great. That's amazing. We had the Sarasota Middle School Summer School Tour. So we had one of the middle schools brought their students in and toured the facility. We actually had 2 school groups that came in and toured the facility. They wanted the kids to understand what we do and what the hospitality industry is all about. So that was pretty cool. They took them through the kitchen, they showed them how to operate the air walls, showed them audio visual, and just showed them different features of the facility, and the kids got to play around with some things and take part in that, so it was a lot of fun. And then we had the Indian Association of Color Guard that was looking at us as well. Community involvement, Shelby Reed, our sales manager, is a new member of the League of Terre Haute, and we attended the CBB monthly board meeting and tourism meeting last month. As far as promotions and advertising, we have still been offering our 200 for 20 campaign. We've been selling this quite a bit and getting a lot of small meetings, so this has been very successful for us. We extended that through September. We're working on TV content for WTHI. We have a advertorial in the Facilities and Destinations Superbook with a full page ad where we're also a Prime Site Award winner for that. So a lot of Spectra venues, we get awards for being spacious, trendy, different types of facilities that they have their editors vote on venues, and so we were one of those selected to be a Prime Site Award winner. Working on tutorial videos and how we use the parking garage. So Emma, who is our part-time sales manager, we've been talking about how do we make things customer service oriented for individuals so that they know how to do things when they get here. So she's working on an actual video, that she's doing, dragging into the garage. We'll edit it and that so that folks can go to our website and actually know how do you go into the garage, how do you pay, what do you need. So it's kind of a step-by-step tutorial to make it easy for folks to, when they come and leave, they know exactly what to do. Trying to do everything we can to make everything very easy for folks. We had an ad in the Wabash Valley Coaches Association program, and we did a week-long Meet Our Team campaign. And then this just shows some clips of some of our Facebook advertising that we've done, some of the posts and some of the post engagement and the traffic that we've had. Our website gets a lot of traffic. RJL did a really great job building out our website for us, and we continue to work on little enhancements with them. So it just kind of shows some of those posts again. Our Meet Our Team is where you can see Mark and Ian and Shelby over here. Basically, there was every day there was an introduction of a team member, so we're doing this every week, trying to push out team members so that friends and family of these folks, it could all be shared and they can kind of gain a little bit of traction on knowing who works here. And then we have some news clips in here. This is just kind of where different articles where the convention center was featured in the paper or on the news. WTHI hosted a job fair. They had about 400 attendees that showed up for that, so that was really amazing. They're actually looking at doing that event again. WTHI, I believe, is going to be doing a job fair as well. We had the Paint the Town pink for Mother's Day, so we had the ballroom. Part of the ballroom was full of carnations. I don't think I've ever seen so many carnations. So this was one of those assembly places and drop-offs, and so news crew was out here to interview some of the folks and quarrel from that. So we had a lot of really great publicity. In terms of employment, our Director of Food and Beverage position is open. I am in the process of interviewing for that position. And our second event manager position is open, but I'm interviewing for it as well. We recently filled our administrative assistant position / marketing. That was filled with Alyssa Bennett, sorry. She comes to us from WTWO. She was a sales rep for them, so she was doing sales and marketing. So she's got a really good background, and she's a very analytical person, so she'll be very good at helping Martell with a lot of the financials. And ongoing, hiring will be kitchen, banquet servers, operations staff. Still building, our part-time roster. For operations, our handheld radios are still on back order. We actually just had a notice the other day that it probably won't be till September until we get those now. So we're still waiting on those. Radios make our life a little bit easier to be able to communicate through the building rather than cell phones. But we're doing without, and it's been fine. We had our DHS inspection for our event permit. That was approved. All items that the inspector requested to be corrected were done so, and he was really happy with what he saw when he came in. So we don't have to do another annual inspection until next year. Micromain is our work order program. We actually had a Micromain rep that came out at the beginning of June. Her and Brady went through the entire facility. They looked at all of our mechanical items, anything that has a working function, valves, belts. They went through pretty much all of that. She listed everything. They cataloged everything. So we're building that inventory list and that preventative maintenance schedule. And we're getting ready to start going through trainings on how to actually input all that data into our system and create our work orders so that we can stay on top of, anything that happens. So if the dishwasher goes down, Sunny would put, she'd log into the system, put a work order in, Brady or his technician would immediately reach out, okay, is this under warranty, is it not? They would start their repair process for that, and then we have a record of anything and everything that needed any kind of repairs, if it was under warranty, if there was a cost associated and what that was. So then we have a really good maintenance schedule to see how we're taking care of all of our equipment and mechanical functions in the building. Irrigation has kind of been an ongoing, we've kind of had a few ongoing issues with irrigations. We've had some leaks here and there, and so Brady's worked with Lynn Brothers, and Mark Merrill has been very much involved in making sure that he knows what's going on with irrigation. So as we've continued to get leaks, we keep having them come out. So we want to make sure that, kind of a red flag, if we keep having problems, we might need to take some more steps in the future if we need to dig something up to have some lines replaced. We'll do that. We do have a few trees in the back that we're watching. I know one of them for sure needs to be replaced, and we've already talked to them, but there are 2 more that are dying, and we think it's because of irrigation leaks where they're getting overwatered. Because we had some puddling. It's actually on the north side of the building. You'll see 2 evergreens that are over there, or 3 evergreens that are really turning brown. So we've talked to them about replacing those, and it is under warranty too. So we're continuing to watch that, and Mark's very much involved in that. We had some HVAC concerns in June. So June 14th, our ballrooms, D&E, and the kitchen were not cooling. So we connected with Train, who did the install, and then they connected us with B&S Plumbing. RTU1 and RTU2 were the 2 units that were down. RTU1 didn't have the correct power, and I'm not a power guru in that, but from my understanding, it was a brownout or a power spike that affected this, and so they've come in and they've corrected the power going to that unit. And then RTU2 had a pinhole leak in it, and it had lost all the refrigerant. So they repaired the leak and they've recharged it, so those have been good. We've continued to work with B&S Plumbing for any kind of issues that we've had with the HVAC, because we've had some instances where we've come in and we haven't been able to get it to cool down, so they've come in and looked at things, and everything right now is under warranty. But we are collecting bids for service agreements for when that warranty is up, so who we'll be working with for that, and they have committed to providing us with a quote for that service agreement. They've been really great to work with thus far. For food and beverage, we had our second health department inspection, and we passed that one as well. We had no violations. I obtained my ServSafe manager certificate, so we have 4 certified food managers in the facility now. And then we have, all of our servers have their ServSafe certificates, and then bartenders have to have their licensing too. The kitchen walk-in freezer still had some frost buildup, and actually I think just maybe Monday, I think it was maybe last Friday, they came out, and I think we might have that repaired. So this was done in advance of that, but we had continued to have that frost build up, and I think it's working now. They replaced a heater motor in the freezer. Several food functions during the month. Our team was fairly busy going into July. We were a little bit slow this month. We didn't have quite as many events, but due to summer and vacations, I think, you tend to see a little bit of a dip in meetings. But it created an opportunity for Sunny, our chef, to go back and go, okay, now let's sit down and look at our menu, and let's start really costing things out. Let's start writing recipes and start getting all of that administrative stuff done that we didn't have time to do in April, May, and June when we were just a little bit too busy to do that. So now we're getting through all of that. And then Sunny's been collecting bids for quarterly hood cleaning and degreasing, our spent oil, and pumping of our grease traps. So it was another full month. Sales is full staffed again, so we've got one full-time sales manager and a part-time person in our director of sales. So we've got 2.5 people that are selling, so which is good. So now I think they're in a good place where they're not feeling backlogged. I think short-term business is going to just play a major role in what we do here. It seems like every week we get a call for next week, or or the week out. It's just that's the nature of the business, and so it's nice though. They're manageable events, so we'll take that short-term business anytime we can get it. We had a lot of different types of events, and as we're just getting into summer, we're starting to see a little bit of a dip, but then we'll start picking back up in the fall. Any questions?
Mayor or Dave, do you have any questions?
No, great job, Neil. My favorite picture so far is the room from the football, but because the colors match everything.
Oh.
I like the fact that you're utilizing that.
So the Coaches Association had black linens, and they had gold napkins, and they had the gold centerpieces, and the room, it was the prettiest the room had looked. It was stunning. It was really beautiful. It was a good choice in colors.
I was gonna say, there weren't any upset IU fans there, were there?
Mayor, you still there?
I don't have any questions, John. Very thorough report. Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome. We have a really good team, so it's not just me, it's a whole team of really good, hardworking individuals.
Thank you, Tennille.
You're welcome.
Next is an update on the project and our operating budget. Jason Simler is not able to be with us today, and his very capable assistant, Commissioner Chris Schweitzer, is going to give a report, along with...
No, I defer to the
He's
chair.
deferring,
yeah.
that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's deferring.
Keeps kicking it around. Looking at the comparison of the budgeted to actual expenses, there really weren't much changes from last month on here. There's still a little bit you'll see in the far right column as far as what's remaining to be spent. Taking out the construction cost, which includes what's remaining of really just the Larry Bird Museum. There is just over $400,000. Some of that's probably $50,000 to $100,000 just remaining invoices that will come in. So actually came in very much so under budget. We did have approximately $360,000 in unbudgeted items that came in that we approved. For instance, you guys remember the conversations on some additional parking garage cameras, some additional lighting, that type of thing that we obviously needed. So that's that. Any questions as far as what I will mention that we have asked Baker Tilly to provide a very similar budget to actual expense for the museum going forward once these expenses are wrapped up. And then, they do provide the cash flow. You can see this is through the end of June. You can see the strong ending cash balance, just over 3 million. Jason definitely wanted me to point out July. Food and beverage tax income for the month of July was $312,711, by far the largest we've had in any month. When you look at, previous months, your average is closer to 240,000. So, that's tracking very well. What they do is a future lookout for cash flow as of the end of the year, as of the end of December, assuming, we're just making some assumptions here, that all 1.5 million of the Bird Museum expenses come in, we would still have a very healthy cash balance, you can see, in the food and beverage tax. So, no issues as far as, debt service payments or covering any operating expenses. Any questions from anyone?
I apologize for not making the meeting yesterday.
That's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
All right, thank you, Attorney.
No problem.
I guess you're next to an update on the Larry Bird Museum.
Yes, you'll find, under new business, last month I provided, copies of the preliminary design by Pilfery and, asked, obviously, the CIB members to review. Along with that preliminary design is just an estimate with those elements, what Pilfery believes that cost would come in. That cost is within the overall budget of the museum. I did not have any corrections or changes from any of the CIB members. The museum committee did meet what day was that on? July 14th. Shelley Keene, Mark Madursky, as well as myself and John Marvel were on that call. We did have representatives from Pilfery. Shelley is coordinating the remaining items to get cataloged and for Pilfery for their design. Shelley, you're welcome to jump in if there's anything that you would like to add. The design, the layout, most of all that is completed. And then I have asked I guess our next plan for where we stand with the design is getting images, copyrights, and that sort, so they can, hopefully can complete the final design.
Okay, any questions?
Do you have anything else you wanna add? Garmonk's is still on track to be done with the build out of the shell in between Halloween and Covered Bridge.
Those are our two markers, Covered Bridge Festival and Halloween. Yeah, I can provide a little bit of an update on construction. So we started work shortly after the 4th of July. The walls are framed, electrical rough-ins got completed, I think yesterday. There should be some people on site today, moving a little bit of duct work in advance of drywall, which begins tomorrow. So, probably a week's worth of drywall. I would say 2nd, 3rd week of August, we should be putting paint on the walls. Couple material deliveries, that's kind of what this, is gonna dictate the schedule, but the electrical panel is set to arrive in early September. And then the bus duct, which is just a means of delivering power to the museum lighting that'll go on the ceiling. That bus deck will be here at the end of September. And that should afford us plenty of time to finish mid to late October, so everything's on track in terms of construction.
The way I understood from the call yesterday, have you done the salt beds in the floor for impact in the storage area?
Yeah, we did that in early July, cut the floor, rerouted some ductwork that's below the slab, poured that back. And now the conduits have gone up and will allow access above the ceiling. All that work is complete.
One other thing that Garmon's been able to do is they've been able to find some alternatives as far as the lighting and the dimming system, saved quite a bit.
Almost
$16,000 just on that. So we are very appreciative of Garmon's partnership in this project.
Mayor or Dave, do you have any questions of Brian?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I did
They've
not.
done no
All right. Moving on to legal matters. Brian Bosma, Kroger, Gardis, and Regus.
Thank you, sir. Just touch on a few things that we worked on this past month and that we're working on now. First of all, we clarified with Jim and Tennille, your team, that the Department of Revenue does require the collection of food and beverage tax from sales at this facility. As ironic as that may seem, that it all comes back to you, but we clarified that and I'll coordinate with the Department of Revenue, but I think Tennille's got Martell's got that all under control, and Doug Kowalski's got a direct line there, so if you need any help, let us know. You've had outstanding governance policies, which have been on Jim Brindle and my mind for a while, so that's your resolution 7 and 8 today will complete the loop on your governance documents by implementing a capital asset program and a internal control policy, both of which are required of separate political subdivisions. I'll refresh your memory that while you are a component unit of the county, you are a separate political subdivision according to state board of accounts. So you need to have these policies in your own annual financial report that is coordinated with the auditor with the counties. So the resolutions that I can talk about them further then, but they really are mirrors with slight revisions to the county's policies. So they'll be consistent for the auditor to work with, and Jim's in good shape with those. I did note, this is just a note, as I was trying to figure out what happened in one item that happened at last month's meeting, I did note that the CIB is not listed on the county's calendar, and your meetings are not consistently posted like other units are, so you just may want to take a look at that. Like this meeting wasn't on the county's calendar. I just happened to note that as I was looking through things. So we will be working, presuming you adopt Resolution 9, which Terry's already explained, is some of the fixtures and design elements for the display at the Larry Bird Museum. Most of that acquisition will be through RFP, so which your museum consultants know nothing about Indiana law, so we've already coordinated with them, and we'll help. They can write it, but we'll put together the structure for it and be sure that the statutory requirements are met. We have almost entirely cleaned up the management agreement. I just want to refresh your memory that there is one element that remains that we will get on a calendar for next year. Part of the incentive, in addition to their monthly fee or their annual fee, there's 2 incentive fees that Spectra has the opportunity to earn. One is a qualitative fee, which is just $25,000 and how good you think they did based on whatever criteria you went to kind of a bonus after the end of the year. That's happened with 90 days at the end of the stub year, which is this operating year. And then there's a benchmark, there is another incentive fee in which a benchmark is set and that they share in 20% of the revenues exclusive of food and beverage sales, not the tax, the sales. All of the revenues, they share 20% of that over a benchmark. None of us have felt comfortable establishing a benchmark yet. So that will be on your calendar for, and they can't collect that in the stub year contract, they collect it in the big year. So I will probably get on your calendar of meetings for next year a date specific for that to happen mid-year, maybe after you have a full year
Yeah.
operating data. Still some real estate nits laying out there that are on my list that will get squared away when everybody's ready to do it. So that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Dave or the mayor, do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, Dave, I couldn't hear you.
Well, I was just saying, thanks for clarifying that with Beverage.
Yes.
Nobody seems to want to answer that question.
Yes, yeah,
Out to a couple of people that haven't heard anything back yet, so,
yeah,
yeah,
we got it squared.
cool. I'm good, John.
He said they posted they're good.
Okay, great. All right, hearing nothing further for Brian Bosma, under new business, we'll take up now resolution 2022-07, approving the capital asset policy. And again, this is just to mirror what the county has in place now, since we are a quote-unquote subdivision of the county.
Component unit. I was have to look at my
Component
notes to remember the name. Component unit.
Is this exactly, the capital asset policy is exactly as the county's?
It is not exact.
I think we
It-
deleted roads and
We
bridges.
removed roads and bridges, figuring you're not gonna be building any of those. It also, the capital asset plan for the county refers to departments, yours refers to the board only. So their policy like applies to everybody, yours just applies to you. But the verbiage is virtually identical other than that. And the dollar values and depreciation are identical.
Dave or the mayor, do you have any questions on this resolution?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-07.
I'll second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution 2022-07, which is the capital asset policy. All those in favor,
Well,
signify
we
by
have to do a
saying.
roll call because we have electronic
I'm sorry.
participants.
Roll call, please, Mr. Bramble.
Mayor Bennett,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson,
Aye.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Aye.
Mr. Marble,
Aye.
Ms. Conley.
Aye.
Resolution 2022-07 is passed. And under new business, 2022, resolution 2022-08 is the internal control policy, which again mirrors what the county has already on the books. You have any questions, Mayor or Dave?
I'll make the motion to pass resolution number 2022-08.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to pass resolution 2022-08. Mr. Bramble, will you call the roll?
Mr. Marble,
Aye.
Mr. Bennett,
Aye.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson,
Aye.
Ms. Conley.
Aye.
Resolution 2022-08 is passed. Now we're under resolution 2022-09, revising the museum budget.
Can I give a little explanation on that before
Yes,
Jerry
sir.
explains that part? So just to fill in a few blanks, for those who weren't here up until this calendar year, there was a great deal of confusion about exactly what that $1.5 million budget for the museum was. And I actually got a call from Mark Madursky after I sent an email to a few of you that said, after he put in some sort of minutes, that I said it was $1.5 million. And I sent him an email and said, hey, so you know, I wrote the amendment that you have here, so I never said that. He actually called and apologized to me. What he was trying to say was that I had pointed out in a prior meeting that they were under the impression that there was a $1.5 million exhibit budget, and I'll lay that at the foot of Steve Howard, who never would give us a number on that 1.5 until Brian actually finally said, what's in this and what can I construct with it and what goes into the museum. So we put together the amendment to the Pilfery contract. I included that in the resolution because I wanted this in one spot so everyone would kind of know what the history is here, and will likely, I suspect, that the Pilfery group will want to change their compensation once this gets fleshed out a little bit. So the resolution gives the president and legal counsel the authority to enter into a new amendment, because the new budget doesn't exactly reflect what their current contract was. We'll run it by everybody to be sure you're all comfortable with it. But that's why I added this here, because I didn't want people to forget that this was the original resolution. And then as Terry.
I just want to clarify one of the comments,
Sure.
because we're not necessarily approving a new budget. However, we are approving the preliminary design is what this resolution does. With that, there is estimated cost for the exhibits only. It still falls under the entire umbrella of the 1.5, and within that, we very likely may need to, and again, Baker Tilly's working on expanding the budget, because what was approved previously, it's hard to call it a budget. It's 6 buckets of kind of categorizing what expenses would be. So I agree, there will probably need to be an amendment in the next couple of months once Baker Tilly gets that. So really this is.
There was one item, just so everybody's on the same page, there was one item on the new exhibit that wasn't included in the old one, but like you said, it was 6 buckets. So line 68 has, if I can read that, yeah, line 68 has media rights acquisition in the amount of $75,000, which was not, it has to be there. So maybe it was buried in contingency or whatever the elusive design costs were at the top.
Should be a part of the design cost. Is where that falls.
Okay. And then they have a note at the end that says it's 100,000, so we'll get that cleared up.
Yesterday, they didn't know what it was.
Correct.
What they did not have in the preliminary design, they had 0 estimates for copyrights and graphic design.
Right.
We will have to obviously pay for some of that.
Right.
So I did ask for them to put in at least 75,000. Originally, we talked about 100, so I'm guessing they corrected it in the above fields, just the
Sure.
note was not corrected, as I'm guessing what that was, but we do at least have within the 1.5, there is copyright and design fees in there. Does that help clarify where we are on the
I
design
think so.
system?
Yep.
We needed, I mean, nothing against the Nations Group, but we needed a figure out there that someone had previously looked at, say, we think this is what it's gonna take to.
It was just a placeholder. I mean, they finally just addressed that.
Oh.
So we'll amend that later.
Yes. One thing I was not able to confirm yesterday, I was able to confirm change orders with Brian, but I was not able to confirm if CSO has any.
I was,
and Brian
because
proposed
CSO
to.
was on the call yesterday.
And they had no outstanding design.
They're
on
going
the museum.
to, give us, to finalize their contract. They said in the meeting that they did not foresee any, and actually, Brian, I think you said CSO really does not need to be involved anymore in what you're doing, correct?
Correct.
And so I've asked them to get with us a finalized amount to finish out their contract.
Perfect.
And Baker Tilly's aware of that as well. So, because there is still obviously some availability in the design services area. So,
Dave or Mayor, do
I'll
you
let
have
you know what they
any,
say.
any questions on resolution 2022-09?
I do not.
He said no.
Yeah, we'll say.
Oh, no. All right. On the tables, resolution 2022-09. Entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-09.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Bramble, call the roll, please.
Mr. Marvel,
Aye.
Mr. Bennett,
Aye.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson,
Aye.
Ms. Conley.
Aye.
Resolution 2022-09 passes. Moving along, other business. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Electronically, Mayor, do you have any questions or comments?
No, not at this time.
Mr. Patterson?
No.
Board members?
Good.
Good.
Very good. Our next regular board meeting will be August the 24th here in the Convention Center boardroom. And hearing nothing else, this meeting's adjourned.